Okay, ladies and gentle people, um, this is how I became divorced at 22 years old. This is going to be very simplified. I would rather undershare than overshare. I have reached out to members, friends, and family members, both myself and my ex wife, to find the best way to do this. Um, and we all pretty much came to the same conclusion of do not share more than is needed. But if at some point I feel the need to elaborate, I might do that. There might be longer versions of this with breakdowns and parts. But let's get into it. Okay, so I got married May 17th of this year. And shortly before that, my wife or ex wife started a new job. And that's important to know. So, we end up moving into our apartment together in mid-July. I believe it was July 16th. Between the when we got married and that time, we were living with my parents. So we move in about 2 weeks after that. My wife has just a breakdown, comes in my office, has a breakdown about, I feel like we might have rushed into this. We did things too soon, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't like we need to split. It was just, I'm freaking out. It's like, okay, let's talk through it. And about a week later, she apologizes, says, hey, I think I was just having kind of a mental breakdown. I'm like, hey, that's fine. I get it. It's scary times. I had a freak out. I think it was like the third night that we were staying in the apartment, just about like, missing my family. So some time goes on, and now we're in August, and there's another freak out. And I feel like we rushed into this, blah, blah, blah. Well, we meet with our premarital counselor. Well, our counselors, I guess, but they did our premarital counseling. We talked through, and they're like, hey, this is super common. We see this in young married couples all the time. Let's, set some expectations for one another just so you guys can help each other out. And we did. And, I think in my head, things are going great. Okay, so Monday, September 15th rolls around, and I leave work a little early. She tells me that she wants me to come home so we can talk. And so we go home, or I go home, and I get there, and she's like, hey, like, I'm not ready to talk just yet. Go play the game. So I'm like, okay, I play the game for an hour. Go back in. Hey, I'm not ready to talk just yet. Go play the game. Okay, go back in for now. Whatever. So basically, she tells me, like, hey, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this. I think that it's just not worth talking about. And me being an anxious person, I'm like, well, is it something small, or is it something like you want to move out? And she's just kind of like, I don't really know. I don't know. I feel like, there's just so many things happen so quick, and I don't know. Well, either way, we talked through things a little bit. I think she can tell that I'm upset. She could tell that I was upset, so she just kind of dialed back. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know where her mind space is or head space is in any of this. Well, the following Saturday rolls around. Everything's all hunky dory for me. I go out with my buddy. We put out some bags of corn and stuff, and then I get home. She's like, "Hey, when are you gonna be home?" I tell her, and she's like, "Okay, great. Like, I'm gonna take a shower and I'll see you when you get home." Well, I get home. She got her bags packed. Hey, I'm gonna stay with my mom. I need some space away. I might be back Wednesday. I don't know. Can we talk? Nope. Gone. Out the door. Gone. Poof. Gone. No contact that Sunday, that Monday. Then Tuesday night, I finally call her. Now, mind you, in between this, I'm over at my best friend's house. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. And I say no contact. There were a couple texts sent. Well, she also goes over there and is with him and his girlfriend and just talking to them. And it's, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And they're asking her the questions. Hey, is there anything going on that might be causing this? Is there anything, She's like, no, nothing. Well, so Tuesday night I call her. And this is now, let me get the date. Yeah, so Tuesday the 23rd of September, I call her and things seem well. And I'm like, hey, do you want to go out tomorrow? She's like, yeah. So her and I go out. We have a great dinner. And she tells me, like, look, I've decided I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to run away. Like, we're going to work on this together. I can't leave you. I don't want to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. Awesome. But you need to do this and this and this and this and this. And mind you, everything's been fairly normal for me up to this point, up until her leaving. So thing number one was therapy. So I put myself in therapy. I get couples therapy for the two of us. I'm paying out the butt for it, but whatever. This is necessary. Whatever means. She's like, I'm not ready to move back in yet, but we'll see. So we have our first therapy session that following Sunday, and just to kind of collapse all this down, eventually after like a week or so, she moves back in. Things are going great. I'm cooking dinner every single night, right? She did almost nothing around the apartment, and I would complain about that because it's like, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. Cooking, cleaning, everything. Laundry, everything. I'm doing everything, right? I like made up her closet for her and stuff and whatever. I'm just like, I'm trying to show her whatever it is that you need, I'm going to do. And I just start working on myself and start trying to be, the best husband that I could possibly be. And it's stuff that I should have been doing beforehand, but it's like, this is my first time. I'm a kid. Well, 3 weeks go by. Let me go back to my text to figure out the date. So, mind you, during this time too, she's like trying to get me to buy her a new car and like a gaming PC, and we're coming to all the. I mean, it's amazing. It seemed like the most perfect marriage. Well, Sunday, October 12th rolls around, and things have been going great. We have our therapy session, and the therapist is like, guys, I think we made a breakthrough, and we're laughing, giggling, whatever. Well, therapy session ends. She looks at me, hey, I'm dropping out of nursing school. When did you make that decision? She's like, last week. I was like, okay, all right. I support you. That's a big decision. That gives us more time to spend together. I guess work through these things. Breakdown, anxiety, full on, just freaking out. My jump to is, hey, let's pray. She doesn't want to. She goes, jumps in the shower. She's free. I can't do this. I thought I could, whatever. And I'm like, hey, let's get in the car, because car rides always calmed her down. Let's get in the car and ride around. In the car, I've been lying to you. I've been doing X, Y. And I go, have you been cheating? And she looks at me, yeah. With who? It's her boss. So yeah, so she says that. And, I've always been a very emotional person, but in that moment, I couldn't cry. I couldn't get angry. All I could do was drive. And in my head, I'm just praying while listening and trying to talk. And basically, she says, I find out over time that she had started emotionally cheating, which let's just call it what it is. She started cheating 2 weeks after we moved into our apartment. So mind you, this is 2 months after we get married. And that, if we do the timeline here, that's when the first freak out happened, when she came into my office. And then apparently it was just that. And then towards the time of the second freak out, before she moved out, was when they had started making plans to be physical. And then during the time between that freak out and her moving out is when they actually did have a level of physical relation. And then, mind you, this all comes out the day before I'm supposed to hop on a flight for a promotion that I just received. And she tells me that this has been going on, that it's most likely going to continue going on. And not crying about it, not upset about it. Actually, I'll just tell you guys, laughing at my crying, because eventually I do start crying, of course. She's like, look, let's go back to the apartment, which is out there. And I'm like, okay. We get back to the apartment. She's like, look, I need to call him. Mind you, I'm falling apart. Look, I need to call him. I need to make sure he's okay. So she leaves for 2 hours while it's like 12 o'clock at night. I can't sleep. I can't do anything, right? I have a flight to catch the next morning. I can't do anything. I'm falling apart. Finally, she comes home. She's like, look, I don't want to talk about this. Let's just lay down. So I get like 2 hours of sleep, wake up, get on a flight, and absolutely bomb. Do terrible, right? Because how could you do well? And during this week, while I'm gone, all I'm thinking of is, okay, how am I going to fix this? I don't know how I'm going to fix it. How do you forgive? Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. And wow, God is good, because though I didn't fix it, he kept me functioning better than I would have without him. And so then I get back. She ends up actually picking me up from the airport that Thursday night. We hang out. She drives me back to the apartment, goes and stays at her mom's. Friday morning, wake up, we go on a date. It's great. We're having a good time. It's a little weird, but we're having a good time. Well, eventually, we go back to the apartment. She falls asleep. I go through her phone, and it is her and him dogging on me, talking about how she's going to stay on my good side so she can get things from me, and all sorts of terrible stuff. And so I'm like, hey, wake up. Let's go. And she's like, oh my gosh, did you go through my phone? I'm like, yeah. I did. And then, part two, I didn't think it was going to be this long. So, so she goes and starts freaking out, and she's like, take me home. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, we are driving home, and she's telling me, I really thought there was a chance. I really thought you would change, but you going through my phone just shows me you're the same person. I just took you on a date, spent a bunch of money, like had what I thought was a great day, and the whole time you're sneaking off to the bathroom to text your boyfriend about how you have to stay on my good side, and hoping that he's not upset with you for it. So then I turn on her Snap Maps because I'm crazy. I turn on her Snap Maps, and sure enough, that night she ends up at his house. Saturday morning, wake up, go home, pack up all of her stuff nicely, not throwing stuff, right? I just put whatever clothes and stuff into bags and put the other stuff in whatever. Load it in the back of the truck, text her, hey, what time do you get off work? Or what time are you going to be at your mom? She tells me, like, okay, I pull up, got all of her stuff in the truck, and she's like, can we go get food? I'm like, you know what? Let me see how much information I can fish out of here. So she knows at this point, she's found out that her Snap Maps is on. So I'm like, where were you last night? She's like, a friend called me. I was upset at you, and so, they called me and I went over. I was like, was it his house? She's like, yeah. I'm like, did you sleep with him? Yeah. Gotcha. So then, full transparency, we're riding around, and she's just like, let's just drive. Let's just go somewhere. Let's just wake up and see the sunset somewhere. And I'm not going to overshare, but I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. And I'm not even going to listen, what your mind is thinking, that happens. What a moron. What a buffoon, right? So either way, I end up spending the night. And then Sunday, I wake up and I go to church because I'm like, God, I need you so, which I go to church anyways, right? But I'm like, God. And so I go to church and I walk in early and I sit there and I just cry in a pew. And then I get out of church and to a text from her, hey, she texted me somewhere along the lines of, or I can't remember if it was text or call, but she's like, hey, like, come back over, and I'm like, how you left? I'm like, okay. So I went over and I get over there and she just wants to lay down. We lay down and, what an idiot. Either way, so she's like, hey, I got to go to my friend's house. So you got to go. This is several hours later. Well, she goes to her friend's house, and then she goes back to his house. In the same day! Oh, gosh! So yeah. So I'm like, hey, I schedule us tests, because I just, sorry. So I schedule us test. Thank God, everything's fine. Everything's clean. Everything's clear. Thank God. Well, then the next, 2 or so weeks go by, and she's talking about, hey, I'm moving, I'm going to do all these things, and, I want us to be friends, I want us to stay in contact with each other. And I'm still in the mindset of, I'm going to make this work. Well, along the way, I end up finding out a lot more. And I didn't believe it at first until I start receiving proof. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of hits. And mind you, we hang out 1 or 2 times after that. And so eventually she says hey, I'm moving and stuff and whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so in my mind, I'm not signing the papers. You're crazy. Sorry, I made a covenant vow with God. I don't care if you're stupid and went and did something stupid. No, we're going to figure this out. Eventually you take so many hits that you start to realize maybe God's giving you the pass. Maybe God's letting me get out of this. And that's exactly what happened. She continuously chose other people throughout these 2 weeks or so. I don't know what happened with him because they broke up. And then there was 2 or 3. I don't know. Either way. So eventually it finally clicks in my head. I'm like, oh, you got to shut it off, bro. Straight Vampire Diaries. Just turn it off. So I did. So I guess it's 2 weeks later, she texts or she calls me. She's like, hey, when are we seeing each other? And I'm like, for what? She's like, just, I guess just to sign the papers. I said, you don't need me for that. You can get your stuff signed and then have me served or whatever. I'll sign mine and be done. Mind you, this is radically different than the last thing she heard from me, which is I'm not signing anything. So then I get a text Monday. Hey, do you want to see me before I leave? I'll respond. Wednesday we meet to sign papers. I'm not going to explain how that ended up happening. I didn't know she was going to be there. By the way, papers get signed and give, whatever. And she's like, can I get a hug? I was like, look, I don't. And she's like, please. So, okay, give her a hug. And then, yeah. There's so much that's not in this because, and if somehow any party that's not, I don't want to say on my side, but on my side with this, I am doing the opposite of dogging. There's so much more, and if there's any accusation of, oh, he's lying, I hate to break it to everyone, but I'm not a buffoon. Alabama's a one-party state, and it was in my own home and vehicle. I've got everything. I have everything right here. So the legitimacy behind what I've said right here. I undershared a lot because I hope, and the last thing that I said to her, I prayed over her, the last thing that we did is we had a conversation. I said, I am not mad. I do not hate you. I hope you have a wonderful life. I hope you find a man someday that you can love the way that you should. I prayed for her, wished her the best, said I can't be in contact with you again. I can never talk to you again. This has to be the end of it. Now it's turned into a thing where she's dogging me to an extent. I don't want to say dogging me, but it's like, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just a little bit of stupid stuff though, and gotta move on. Gotta let go. You know, I'm so separated. But the plan is, now that I've said all of this, I can now do what I really wanted to do this whole time, which is make the Christian content, but also make the Christian content that speaks directly through what, in my opinion, is got to be one of the hardest things you can go through in life, and that is infidelity, right? In separation, divorce, whatever. And now that I've really said what happened, I feel like it gives me some grounds to talk about this, because let me tell you, if you have gone through anything even remotely close to what I just went through, worse, better, whatever, God will take care of you. God will provide a way every time. You just have to trust in Him. Do not run to the world. It's so freaking easy. Believe me, dude, I was one text message away from doing something stupid. I'm 2 feet away from solving all the problems. I want to jump in here because that was supposed to be like smoking weed, and it didn't look like that. In theory. Thank God I didn't. Because it doesn't fix anything. It puts you further in the hole, and it will destroy you more and more and more. And eventually, if you're saved, God's going to reach out and grab you. But, man, it would be better if you didn't have to dig through all that crap, too. So, yeah, and if for some reason there's a expose about, oh, well, look at, I will go ahead and tell you guys straight up. Yeah, I've said some terrible things to her when we were dating, when we were engaged, and when we were married. No excuses. There are certain ways that you should never talk to a woman. Never anything physical. Never any reason for her to be fearful of me. And once again, that's all on here. I have all that admitted. Never any reason for that. Never took advantage. Once again, all on here. But I said some things, right, that I shouldn't have said. I used some words that I shouldn't have used. Terrible. But if you are going to share those things with people, I would encourage you to share the full story, because if not, I will share the full story behind messages. Or Ryan finally got to say what happened, we'll just let it be. And I think that'd be best for everyone. So that is 19 minutes of my crazy past 3 months or whatever. But God is good. God is providing. God has already blessed me in a million different ways that I can't believe how fast the turnaround was between great to terrible back to great. All I had to do was pull my head out of my... And, yeah, all glory, praise, and honor to God. So when we had our closure conversation, it was the first time, and you have to be careful with this, because when you have people that have a certain... I don't want to put a label on it, but people that are a certain way, they have a certain thing, you realize that they can change like that. They can shapeshift, they can mold into their environment and say exactly what needs to be said for whatever outcome they're looking for in that moment. So the legitimacy behind the conversation has to be questioned on my end. But In that final conversation, she apologized for the first time. I saw her cry. She told me that I was the perfect husband, as perfect as I could have been. She told me that I was not manipulative, I was not controlling. She told me that I was everything she needed, but at the time her flesh wanted something different. She poured out her heart in just apologizing and telling me how great of a person I was and how thankful she was for everything I did for her for the past 3+ years. And I didn't think that I needed that, but I did. I realized that I did. Not because I was blaming myself, not because her opinion mattered, but when you love and care about someone that deeply and they are convinced in their mind that you are the one that hurt, you are the one that broke things, you are the ruiner, or at least they've told you that that's what they think, that's hard. Even if you know it's not true, that's hard. So hearing that was something that was nice for her to admit that it was not me. And there were things that I could have done better, and we both were aware of that. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that lasted very long. It seems like that shapeshifter mentality, when the crowd shifted, or when she was in a new environment, that mentality went away, and it was back to, well, he was this, that, and the other. And while I was this, that, and the other, not to the extent that it's being portrayed. So, this story has a happy ending for me. It has a very happy ending for me. And I will continue to pray that it has a happy ending for her and for all the people that were involved in this. And I've been blessed with such an amazing group of friends, friends that were her friends and have reached out to me and just told me how much they care about me. Her family members who have reached out to me and told me how much they care about me. And I think that seeing that, I think she's going to be all right too. I think it's going to take some time. I think I'm not going to overshare. But the moral of the story is I think this all ends well for every party. I think it just takes time. But it's God's timing is so much better than ours every single time. So, yeah.
I am seriously trying to outgrow my villain era, but my roommate has lost her goddamn mind. So my roommate has a Cocker Spaniel, and her Cocker Spaniel has two very distinct issues, which is that it will snap at people at any moment given, and it also has a problem with aggressively stealing food, no matter if it's on a table, a counter. If it can get to it, it's gonna eat your food. Everything I'm going to tell you, no matter how random it sounds, it plays a very key component in what's happening right now. So my roommate's day job is pretty much like a ticketing police, like a cop, but like not a cop. And like with working for the city, she can pretty much call out whenever. As long as she reports the time, they will give her the time off and still pay her. She pretty much spends most of her time not working and going on hinge dates. And my girl is a player, so she will have these little hinge meetups back to back, okay? Like one night she wasn't home because she was on a hinge date, and some guy came to the door and he was all like, Sasha. I'm like, she's not here, oh my god. The other night, Sasha goes on a hinge date and a few of my friends from back home are in town, and so I'm like, ooh, pull up, let's have a game night. So everybody is vibing, but we end up getting a little bit hungry, so we're like, ooh, we need to order a pizza right now. So we ordered this pesto, spinach, mushroom, white sauce, large pie, and when I tell you, I was so excited to eat this pizza. Pizza gets here, it took like 30 minutes for the pizza to come. You know when you're like cooking and you finish cooking and you're like, I don't really want the pizza right now? That's pretty much what happened with the pizza. We ended up getting the delivery, put the pizza in my bedroom, left the door crack, and we just continued to play games. I cannot tell you for the life of me why we did not put that pizza in the kitchen on the counter, but I think the vibes were just so fun that we just didn't even think about it. We just continued to go from game to game. Now in the middle of us playing games, Sasha ends up coming home. It seemed like this day didn't really go that well, because as soon as she got home, she's like, hi to everybody. She doesn't even like give a warm welcome. She's like slamming doors, and then she goes into her room, lets her dog out, and then closes her door. So her dog ends up coming up to one of my homies. This dog seems cute, right? It seems nice. I was like, but don't get too close, like it will snap on you. My homie's like, nah, I'm chilling, I'm chilling. What does the dog do? The dog ends up biting him. After the dog bites my friend is like hysterically laughing. He's a bigger guy, so he's like, I will stomp on this dog. And I'm like, no. Like, we're just laughing, and so we just end up shooing the dog away. Mind you, her door is closed, so I'm sure the dog probably wanted to go to her room, but he didn't. So the dog just starts roaming around our apartment. So after we shoot the dog, like 20 minutes goes by. I think we were having so much fun, we literally forgot about the pizza. But then I ended up having to go to the bathroom. And on my way to the bathroom, I see a piece of the pizza just like in front of my bathroom door, literally hysterically laughing because I'm like, this is not for real. So I go and I grab my best friend. This is how my house is set up. It's living room, hallway, bathroom, hallway, my bedroom, the front door. So boom, she's in my room and she calls for me. She's like, Ryan, come here right now. By this point, Sasha comes out of her room, grabs her dog, and goes back in her bedroom and closes the door. Y'all, I go in my bedroom and the pie is literally spread across my entire bed on my floor, and it is a hot ass mess. All I could fucking do was just burst out laughing because I'm like, it's not real pie. My other friends hear me and they literally walk over to see the massacre of this beautiful pizza, and they're just like, bro, now I'm about to pull her to the side because this is crazy. Like, you need to get your animal under control. They go back in the living room. They're still heavily laughing. And I walk past the living room, go to her door, and I knock on it hella gently. Like, I promised y'all I was being so calm. I'm like, hey, can you please come here? I have to show you something. So I quietly walk her across our apartment, and I make sure I stay quiet so that she could see the mess that her dog has made. Once we get to my bedroom, I look around and I'm like, Sasha, your dog went into my room, took my pizza out of my box, spread it across my floor, and made an entire mess in our hallway entryway of our apartment. Y'all, she looked me dead in my face and asked me, was your door open? At this point, I'm getting so mad because I'm like, what does that have to do with anything that I'm telling you right now? She goes, well, didn't I tell you to keep your door closed because he gets into things? No, sorry. No, I'll replace your pizza. And I'm like, I live here. I can have my room door open if I want to. And if you know you have an animal that's out of control, maybe you should put your animal in your room. He's like, no, this is not my fault.
When I was in high school, I was a cheerleader, and we had practice from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. My brother was on the basketball team, and he had practice around the same time, if not the same exact time, right? My mom's boyfriend, my stepdad now, was like picking us up from practice. So I come outside at probably like 6:55. I come out a little earlier, whatever, and I'm in the car with my stepdad. We waiting on my brother to come out. It hit like 7 o'clock, and he like, I'm not finna wait on him. He gonna have to find a ride home. And he pull off. So I had to call my real dad. I called my sister. I called my brother. Like, y'all, he just left him at the school. Like, what the fuck? And I didn't have a car at the time because they had took my car for a whole nother story. But I'm like, you just left my fucking brother. Like, what sense did it make to pick up one kid from the same building? Like, you left the house to pick up 2 kids and you return home with 1 kid. And my mama didn't see a problem with it, y'all. My mama...
When this lady my dad was messing with walked in our house and me and my sisters jumped her. We was literally just chilling in the living room, and then the front door knob started turning. So we thinking maybe our mama done got off early and it's her. But no, a bald head bitch walked through the door. And immediately my sister like, girl, who is you? Like, the hell? Like, this lady literally just walked in our door, no announcement, no nothing. So she get in there, she ignore my sister asking her who she is, and she proceeded to call my daddy's name. So yeah, she started calling my dad's name. He not answering. Mind you, my dad is in the bathroom at the time. I don't know why he not answering her. I don't know if he knew she was on the way over there or what, like, because at the same time the door was unlocked. So I really don't know. He never really spoke about it after this. But yeah, so he started ignoring her. So we asking the lady again, like, who is you, baby? Why is you in our house? Like, so she proceeds to walk towards where she hear his voice coming from. And that's when we like, baby, hold on. Like, who is you? What is you doing? And she like, look, girl, sit down. That's when I'm like, baby, wait, who the fuck is you talking to? You was in our house, like, calling our daddy name, baby. Who the hell is you? And daddy, why you not saying that? Because obviously this bitch know you, and she been in our house before to be able to be comfortable enough to just walk on up in here like this her motherfucking house. So the lady still ignored us. So after she said the little girl sit down, baby, that automatically made us get up, and we started jumping on this bitch. So literally, so we beat her ass. My sister choking her at the time. Mind y'all, I'm like 15, 16, so my sister had to be like 9, and my other sister had to be like 13. So yeah, we just in the kitchen whipping this hoe. Mind you, the bitch is bald head. We putting on a little bit of hair that she got on her little Fantasia perm hairdo. So we doing this bitch in the kitchen. My daddy still ain't saying nothing, but she continued to call. She calling his name. I'm stuttering. He eventually like, yeah, nigga, what? We being this bitch. You need to get your ass out that motherfucking bathroom and come address this situation. So the lady like, if y'all little bitch don't get out for me, I'm getting so-and-so to beat y'all ass. Bitch, bring they ass and we're gonna beat their ass too, ho. Like, how the fuck is you mad? Cause you in our house looking for our daddy, not saying shit to us. Like, baby, what the fuck you think this going on? Don't you know we got a motherfucking mama, ho? So we still being this bitch ass. I'm trying to call my mama. Like, baby, what's up, baby? It's a bitch in your house. You need to get here now. But my mama at work, so she wasn't answering. So, while all this going on, my daddy still ain't came out the bathroom. Like, I don't know if he was scared or something. Like, nigga, the cat's out the bag. We know you cheating on our mama. Like, what's up? Now you need to come get them motherfucking fade too. So yeah, my dad still ain't came out. He ain't answered her. So she eventually ended up leaving out the house. So she's talking all this shit on her way out the door. And we just like, whatever, bitch. We still gonna beat your ass. You come back over here, the fuck. So, we ended up not seeing the lady for a minute after that, excuse me. But on Christmas, she tried to pop up. She didn't try to pop up. She gave my daddy some Nintendos and stuff for us for Christmas. Like, bitch, we don't want shit from you. My mama told her to send that shit back. And she did, and she caught herself trying to argue with our mama. Like, baby, do you know, baby? The fuck, ain't nobody finna play about that mama hoe. You can come get your ass beat again. But y'all, that's what happened. So